So always the third day, the last day of the group matches. Always a lot of tension, always a lot to play for. Steen Pedersen, former head coach to the Danish national team. How did you get your players to deal with this tension and knowing that it's a straight playoff, this match? Whoever wins this goes through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, most of the time the motivation was really easy. It was more about sort of trying to dampen the players' motivation a little bit, or not the motivation, but their anxiety a little bit ahead of the game. And it's so easy to say it's just a game like everybody else, but it's not. I mean, you want to go on to the semi-finals here, and they've experienced it over and over again in their career from they started playing badminton. So
yeah, it's not just a game.
No, and it's not easy to find the right level of concentration and readiness.
No. Well, he's a very fidgety player, is Keigo Sonoda. And I know in the final of the Hong Kong Super Series, where Kimura and Sonoda beat the Danes, Bo and Morgensen, in the final, I think Carsten Morgensen was getting a little bit irritated by the way Keigo Sonoda. Here he is, look, he's fidgeting about, jumping about on the spot. It really started to annoy the Dane, actually.
But that's, I mean, it's a symptom of Japanese pair playing well and the Danes struggling. It's very rarely I've heard winners complain about wind or speed of shuttles or anything else.
4-1.
But I've looked forward to this match because I think we could be in for some fireworks here. Both pairs are so quick on their feet and they're so quick with the rackets and so on. And whilst the Japanese pair are more solid and stable and play the shots you more or less would expect them to. This man, especially at the net, Kevin Sukamuljo, is in for, or is the man to make some surprising shots, and I think this could be a fantastic match.
Yes, I really agree with you. I think that Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo, I mean, he's such an instinctive player in some ways, but
yes,
such a dynamic player at the same time. He suddenly springs from nowhere to be in the right place at the right time and intercept shuttles that you don't believe can be intercepted.
Yeah. And the Japanese, they have the quickness of movement and the skill, the racket skills to save a number of these shots. So I think we could have some really interesting rallies.
Yeah, casually just moves out of the way to let that flat smash go long of the back line. Rioni Manaki. Originally from Indonesia, but he's been living in Japan for many years now and has been instrumental in the doubles developments of the Japanese pair. There he is.
6-3.
Well played. Good read by Kimura.
Oh dear, that's a shocking serve. Oh, there's a challenge. There's a challenge here because the Japanese pair, after a really shocking serve, very loose, thought that the return was hit long. Yeah, they were right.
That's a good challenge.
Good challenge.
Very hard for the linesman to judge that one because it was a very, very flat shot that was sliding over quite a long distance.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you the reason for the delay is that, well, we've had the privilege of seeing it again and seeing that it was clearly out. It didn't go through to the giant screen, and therefore the umpire isn't quite sure what Hawkeye has adjudicated.
No, what is that? Now the umpire called it in. That's wrong.
Here, now, is he watching the giant screen now? There we go. There we are. Yes, he's seen it now.
Correction. Out.
Yeah.
8-3.
All's well that ends well.
Play. Service over.
Well, again, it wasn't the best of serves, was it, Steen?
8.
No. A sign of nerves, perhaps. Yeah, this is one of the situations where I feel the Japanese pair has the upper hand in the attack. Also, the Indonesians, they don't have that solid defense that we normally see the Korean pairs or the Japanese pairs have. They have, as you say, more of an instinctive defense, and it's going to be challenged here because the Japanese players, they are so fast that they will have no problems following up and attack on and on again.
I appreciate the point, and perhaps in this scenario, giving their opponents of today the very fast play. But I sometimes think with the Japanese pair, they want to play at 100 miles an hour the whole time. And I often think if they just changed it up a bit, I think Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo is good at changing up the pace.
Yeah. It's like that, you mean?
Yeah.
Play the soft shot. That's definitely the key for the Indonesians.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Service over. 6-10.
Oof.
And this is a situation where instead of pushing the last one there, Kimura could just have blocked it, and then he and his partner would still be in control of the rally.
Yeah. I like the initial smash across the body of Takeshi Kimura. That one.
Yeah.
From the cross-court position, you'd really expect it down the centre of the court or a straight, wouldn't you? That was nice. I like that.
That's a key point. If the Indonesians, they can mix their attack up to disrupt the Japanese defense, then they might have the upper hand.
Yeah. Well, the three-point advantage is with the number one seeds, Kimura and Sonoda. Men's doubles does happen very quickly, doesn't it? Only 8 minutes to the mid-game interval. I think quite possibly the longest rally that we've had so far is 26 shots, so that's an indication that we really don't have. It's all so explosive, it all happens so quickly.
1, 20 seconds. 1, 20 seconds.
Look at him.
8, play.
stationary, apart from when he's actually serving, which he has to be. Otherwise, it's a fault. You're not allowed to move your feet when you're serving. Look at him. Wonder how many calories he burns with those extra sort of keeping on his toes the whole time.
Service over 9-12. Service over 13-9.
I think Sukamuljo's a little bit nervous. What do you reckon, Steen?
I think so too. They played so well in China Open.
Yeah.
And it was a bit surprising to me that they lost to Mads Conrad and Mads Kolding from Denmark.
Yeah, that's nice, right? On the first day, Wednesday. Yeah. Well, there was a big gap because you could see that Sukamuljo was right outside the court area when he had played that round the head smash. And you're always telling me, Steen, that it's not just about keeping on the attack. You've got to keep your balance because you've got to expect the next one to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what the Indonesians have been really, really good at when they've played well in tournaments, that when they go all in on an attacking occasion, they usually win it. But that's what I'm interested in watching here, because I think the Japanese, they have the speed and the defensive skills to counter it. But it's always interesting to see what the Indonesians come up with, because they're probably the most innovative country in men's doubles. Uses all kinds of areas of the court. Kari Pamadi, who's coaching, is
challenge that.
I think it's a correct call, but it was close. Yeah.
Well, they haven't challenged, so they think the same as you, Steen. Sorry to interrupt. Yes, their coach, the Indonesian coach. You were telling about.
Oh yeah, he's a very, very experienced coach, and he's service fault.
Service fault, struck above the waist.
He's seen a lot and come up with a number of creative solutions. I remember last year where Asan and Setchawan won this tournament here. They were in dire straits against Yo Sung and Lee Yong Dae in the group stage, as far as I recall, but beat them in. Or maybe they didn't play them in the group stage, but I think they beat them. Maybe it was for. Okay. Well, I can't really remember anything. That's obvious. I just remember they won, and I was a little bit surprised because it wasn't a hole that's really well suited for them. But they managed to come up with something that still got them a tournament win.
Yeah. Yeah, good change of pace. I like that. Good rally.
Yeah, well played by the Japanese pair, and we saw a number of little deceptions on the net from Sukamuljo, and they are very efficient against taller players and heavier players. But here against the Japanese pair, they're not that efficient. They just go for it and lift it again. And we saw in China, Bo and Mogensen have a bit of success in lifting very high lifts to Gideon and Sukamuljo. That sort of took the worst sting out of their defense. So interesting to see if they can come back here.
Well, Steen, just to clarify what you were talking about just now, it was actually the semi-final last year in the men's doubles that Setchawan and Asan beat Lee Yong Dae and Yu Young Sung, and it was a thrilling match. Oh, that's just wide. Oh, I don't think you'll...
Sonada
That would be
challenges
correct. I thought that was
goal
wide.
of
You're in a slightly better place.
Yeah,
But we're almost perfect behind the court here, but...
This line is almost directly outside of me, in front of me, so I could see some white outside of the line, and that's usually a sign that it might have been wide.
Yeah. So here we are. This is what Hawkeye is determining. That the line judge was right, and you were right, Steen.
Yeah.
So that's just one challenge left for them in this game.
One challenge remaining.
So they can carry on with their peace of mind.
19.
They weren't cheated in any way.
Play.
Oh, this hit.
Oh, look at that defence. There's signs to me that the Indonesians, I said earlier, I thought they were a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I think they've settled now. I think they're playing much better, timing the shots better.
And it's important that they get their flat game to drop below the tape. So the Japanese have to play upwards.
Amazing, amazing. And that's where Sukamuljo
Service over.
sometimes
20.
his change of pace. Look at this.
Yeah.
40.
You're right. Against the taller athletes, that's effective because they
They
struggle
would
to...
have won that rally.
Yeah.
They would have won that rally. But here the Japanese, they are back up so fast.
So, game... Oh, that's another shocking serve. Game point opportunity.
Yeah.
Service over.
Well, what on earth has happened to Sonoda's serve? Good flick. Oh, my goodness, how did he reach that? Yeah, and again. Opening game to the #1 seeds. What a super rally.
Takeshi Kamura. Chigo Sonoda.
21-15. Opening game in 16 minutes of play to the #1 seeds, Takeshi Kamura and Keigo Sonoda.
大体今の自分のサーブもっとギリギリ大丈夫よ。もう少しだけ抜いて少しだけでもそれ抜いたら自分のカバー大事ね。結構相手抜いたら結構プッシュだからそこあなた本当の水中カバーの、ね、羽見たらちょっと移動できるからね。向こうもプッシュよくプッシュ決まるはないんだからちょっと安定のプッシュだから。
Terus kan terus lepas dulu aja untuk sementara ya udah enak nanti baru balik lagi nanti kamu service nunggu netnya dia jarang net nah Ingo di belakangnya tuh begitu Kevin nggak ngambil jangan dinaikin dorong lagi.
What do you reckon that means, Steen?
Something about lifting and then playing fast flat shots. Maybe get the Japanese to attack from a little bit of a bad position if the lift is not that high, so that they can counter-attack on the flat shots. That would be an idea. Also, when they have the attack themselves, the Indonesian pair, when Gideon is attacking, right now he's firing smashes away on almost every chance he's got. It could be a good idea to play a few drop shots, sort of get the Japanese pair out of position. Sukamuljo then has got to be very alert if the Japanese try to change the defense to turn it around, but that might be a possibility in the attack. If the Indonesians, they play with speed and pace in the attacking game, they most likely get it back with speed and pace again from the Japanese pairs, so they don't really have their normal advantage in that game.
Second game. Low wall. Play.
Just wide.
Service
Well, I
over.
think it's imperative that the Indonesians make a better start to this second game than they did the first. Good rally.
And that's the fireworks that I was expecting. This flat game exchanges, and it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. Gideon has strapping on his left knee and his thigh as well. There you can see it.
Good flick serve. That's twice he's thrown in a very good deceptive flick serve.
Yeah.
Service over. 2-all.
Normally, with Gideon and Sukamuljo, their speed of movement is intimidating for their opponents, but that's not the case here because the Japanese players, they're just as fast.
Oh, look at that. I wonder whether the Indonesians are getting a little bit frustrated by the fact that the Japanese pair are matching their speed.
Yeah.
Because normally, against most opponents, the Indonesians are so fast that they're winning points on their sheer speed.
Yes, exactly. And they're made to win the rallies 2 or 3 times against this quick Japanese pairing. Normally, they win it much quicker in the rallies. They're not used to playing those long rallies to get their points. But Kimura is still struggling with his low service, and that's perhaps a lifeline to the Indonesians. Well played, well played. And here we saw in the beginning of the rally, Sukamuljo trying what more or less anticipated in the interval, that he was trying to play a little bit more patient in the beginning of his attack, but the Japanese pair, they turned it around immediately. So they're not being given any time to sort of get their composure in the attack. Gideon and Sukamuljo.
Oh, that was going wide.
Yeah. Good defense.
Service over. 4-all.
Goodness. Oh! Wow. I suppose that I was singing the praises of a cross-court smash like that earlier on in the match, in the opening game. I suppose that's the problem. If your opponents are looking for it, there's a big gap straight down that forehand side.
Yeah, and as we could see here in the replay, Gideon, he doesn't know what to cover because he doesn't know what is the really... what is the smash that they expect could set up a kill? Is it just a smash to set up a better position, or is it a smash to set up a kill? And the Japanese, they get so much back, so it's so hard to distinguish between a smash where you go for the win within the next 2 or 3 rallies, or you just want to get in a better position.
Yeah.
Service over. 5-6.
Here's a little bit of a bad defense from Sonora. No.
The final one was from Kimura.
Yeah, Kimura. And I mean...
But I think the one before was the one that really played them into problems. Oh, I like that backhand.
Yeah.
Oh. Challenge here. Their first challenge of the match, the Indonesians. It was called in. There was terrible indecision, wasn't there? Normally when a player has the time as he did to look back up at the shuttle, look down at the line, they're trying to get their spatial awareness, and they usually get it right.
Yeah.
Let's see what the case is here, though. No, it was plumb on the line.
Yeah, and of course the line judge have the same good opportunities when the shuttle is coming almost vertically down. So it should be very rarely that they are wrong in those calls. It's much more difficult to distinguish the sliders, the ones that where it's really hard to see where does it actually hit the court.
Yeah, the smashes on the slices.
8-5.
That's
Well,
good. Wide.
and the problem for the Indonesians here, for instance, compared to Conrad and Colling, the 2 Danes who's already won the group, is that their attack, their smash skills, abilities are not as strong in terms of powerful and steep smashes as the Danes. We know Colling is above 2 meters of height, so he creates bigger problems for the Japanese pair in the defense than the Indonesians do.
Yeah.
Indonesians rely mainly on quickness and speed, and that's no problem for the Japanese pair.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm right at the start of the match, within the first couple of rallies, I was singing the praises of Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo and saying what an exciting player he was to watch. I've hardly talked about him since, because they're virtually neutralising him, taking him out of the game.
But he's making a lot of good shots. They're just not winning.
Yeah.
They get it all back.
11-5.
Kimura and Sonora.
Yeah, well, they've got a handsome lead, haven't they? 6-point advantage, having already won the first. I think the coach will be pretty happy with their performance so far.
Yeah. This is one of the situations where they have to be really careful, the Japanese, because now it's time for desperate measures for the Indonesians, and this is a match they're going to be playing over and over again in the years to come, because they're both fairly new pairings. It's not like they've been on the circuit for 8 years or something like that.
No.
So they got to come up with something to beat these two. The Indonesians has got to come up with something to beat these 2 Japanese players, and the first chapter in that book is written now. So the first tactical proposal is being tested now, I would expect.
Yeah.
Play.
What a reaction by Kimura. It was the service return that was deflected by the net.
Don't believe it. Yeah, good rally. Good rally.
Good work by
5.
Kimura and Sonoda.
Yeah, could well be the longest rally of the match too. Look at those reactions. Look at the defence. Good judgment in the end. Oh, clearly the longest rally of the match. 52 shots.
Service over. 6-13.
Well, that was a run of 7 straight points.
Yeah. I think the Indonesians are trying to play a more, in quotation mark, normal men's doubles, trying to erase a number of the imaginative shots, but they're not really used to it, and the Japanese pair worked well.
And why deviate from the style that you're so comfortable with?
Yeah, because it's not working against Kimura and Sonoda, so they've got to come up with something else.
Okay. Oh,
That's well played. Well played.
that's
Very good by the Indonesians.
fantastic defence.
8-14.
Oh, amazing, amazing. The channel attack first of all, and then the steep angle.
Service over. 15.
And they don't mind, now they don't mind letting the Japanese pair attack first. They're trying to play some sort of counter playing style, trying to do some counter strike, but the Japanese, they are very, very solid in the attack as well.
Service over.
Not afraid to work. And it's important because, I mean, if they stop working for it, and if they feel that they got it covered, then suddenly the Indonesians will be back in this match.
Service over. 16.
Yeah, but time is running out for them. One suspects. If you're an Indonesian fan, you'll be pretty worried right now.
Service over. 10-16.
I'm not entirely convinced he meant to leave that one. I think he may have missed it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Ten, 16.
What's the score at the interval? 11-5.
Yep.
So it's a draw since the interval.
Yeah. Good work by the Japanese pair.
Yeah.
Service over. 17-10.
And their nature, the nature of Sukamuljo and Gideon is to try to turn the defense around earlier than they're doing right now. This is plan B for the Indonesian pair.
Service over. 11-17. Sanjay.
Yeah, so now try and turn it round. But they're just lifting again.
They're lifting.
Now they've turned it.
Oh, that was wide.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Oh, it's another good rally. And that, I think, was a clear example of what you were saying, Steen, about, you know, being a little too content to defend in the early stages and maybe try and turn that defence into attack. Earlier on in the rally, they seem to be defending for an age.
Yeah. I think eventually the plan could succeed, but they need to go back home and practice their defense, in my opinion. So the Japanese, they have a number of rallies where they are able to penetrate after 5 or 6 smashes and so on. And if the Indonesians could win a bit more of those rallies, it would be a little bit disheartening for the Japanese pair.
I like that finish off. Just rolled the racket head,
Yeah.
changing the direction.
19-12.
Watch this from Kimura. Yeah, nice. 2 points away from booking their place in the semi-finals.
Service over. 13.
Yeah, and it hasn't really become the fireworks that I expected, because Kimura and Sonoda, they've been too good.
Yeah. Good return of serve. And it brings up match point opportunities.
20. Match point 13.
It's going wide.
Service over. 14-20.
Well, we saw Carolina Marin on day one, 13-20 down, and come back and force extra points. It's not beyond the realms of possibilities.
That's a challenge to get a little break of the rhythm.
Out.
Yeah,
There's nowhere in the world that's in.
No.
Oh, we changed the scoring already. That was a little...
Yeah, clearly long. So no challenges left for the Japanese pair in this second game.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining. 16.
There's still another 4 opportunities to book their place in the semi-finals. Extraordinary defence.
17-20.
we begin to believe the unbelievable. Five match points have come along, but 2 more remain for the Japanese pair.
It's gone long.
It's long. Well, we saw it in the women's singles. There's no question, it was long. So from 13-20 to 19-20. You always have to believe it's possible. This time, the #1 seeds, Takeshi Kimura and Keigo Sonoda, convert. My goodness me, I thought we were going to have another match when we thought it was all over. Go the extra distance.
Match won
But
by
it wasn't to be.
Takeshi Kimura.
21-15, 21-19 in a thrilling men's doubles. 38 minutes in total. And it means that the #1 seeds, Kimura and Sonoda, have booked their place in the semi-finals tomorrow. Well, there'll be an inquisition as to what happened from 2013 and why and how it got so desperately close. But the inquisition can wait because they've got a semi-final to look forward to tomorrow.